Hey, guten Abend, Gunther, guten Abend, Uwe.
Wie geht's?
Tachchen.
So, okay. Uwe, you are the CEO, president, big chief, moneymaker of Academy Games.
Gunther, but Gunther does all the.
No, hold on.
I'm the shadow
I'm finished
counsel.
talking yet. What is this? A presidential debate?
Yeah, but we're doing reverse. We're trying to compliment each other.
And so, Gunther, you are the recipient of Uwe's loins, aren't you?
I don't think we have that kind of relationship.
Yeah, I know. I don't do that with my son because he's a little too young. I only go with men about 5 years before I give him parts of my loins.
Okay, so look, this is an impromptu broadcast, I could say. Look, Nathaniel Robinson is in, the OG is in. It's going to get serious now, Uwe. So, you know what, Uwe? Because you usually don't speak a lot, I'm going to give you the opening statement. Go ahead, Uwe. That was very interesting. Gunther, so what do you think about that?
You know what? I have a lot to say about that. I think you cannot trust anything that comes out of Uwe's mouth. It was kind of disturbing to me. And I thought he said a lot without actually saying anything at all.
I want to say 15 years ago, that thing you said was totally wrong. Exactly what you were saying about me.
It's the German minimalistic, the Fritz Lang thing. You don't say much, but you say a lot.
Hey, Uwe, you have a fly in your hair there.
I saw that. Look, no politics.
I don't know. Oh, it's all sticky though.
So Uwe, basically we talked about you got this new space game.
No, what it is, and Gunther's Gunther team designed this very cool. I'm going to that one. Yes. I was going on with that. Thank you, Gunther. One small step. Gunther, take it away.
Yes, this is our new game about the space race, if you couldn't figure out from the title.
Show up a little. They may not know because it only shows the Earth.
Yes. A nice, beautiful American flag on the moon.
And that's Gunther and I posing for that photograph when they took it 40 years ago.
Now, hold on. It just occurred to me. So that's it. This is a game about the space race. Am I right?
Yep. Yes.
You couldn't have gone like, what do they call that? The alternate history, and had a German flag on that thing.
Great movie, The Dark Side of the Moon. Highly recommend it.
Okay.
Phenomenal. It's some Finnish team put it together, right? It's hilarious. It's hilarious. It's a comedy, social commentary movie. And I hear they're coming out with second.
No, they already came out with the second one.
No way. I missed it. Was it any good? Was it as good as first?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, well, that's how good the movie was. We haven't watched the.
So I'm interested in the game. So Gunther, what do you have to do with this game?
Well, I'm one of the designers of the game, along with James Dumont. It was his original concept, and we worked on it for a fun year of history. And James Dumont is just full of facts about the space race. He can tell you, no matter what day it is, he can tell you what satellite was launched, who went into space, what they did, what disaster they overcome. He's an encyclopedia of knowledge about the space race. So it's quite fantastic. So James Dumont did a great job in this game.
Now, Gunther, is there obviously there was There was an anniversary of the space something. I can't think of it right now.
50-year anniversary of landing on the moon was last summer.
Okay, so that's why that game is out. Is that right?
Yep, we launched. We actually had the Kickstarter launch on the day that mission launched for the moon.
Look,
I believe if I remember right, it was Apollo 11. But I could be wrong. It's been a year.
Who thought about putting the Kickstarter on the same date?
Come on, we organize. What?
That's good.
It was planned a year ahead of time to launch on that date. So, still was a lot of work to get it done by then. It was more work than the real moon landing launch.
Well, no, yeah. But okay, so Gunther, what's your expertise on space and all things space for you to be co-designer of an Academy Games game other than nepotism? Your dad is the CEO of Academy Games.
First of all, I live within space, so as a resident, I believe I'm an expert. So, and I think I'm entitled to everything within it.
I think it's kind of silly because you know that every German, when they're born, they learn how to suck their thumb and design rockets. I mean, it's standard.
Even my grandfather was a rocket scientist, a German rocket scientist.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, he was recruited by the army. He came over here from Germany in the late 50s, and then they got recruited into the army, drafted in the army.
That's right. You told me that, Uwe. Yes. Yep. Go on.
And then they discovered he was a German who was also an engineer. Had just rookie engineer, received his engineering degree a year ago, and like, you're going to work on our top secret Zeus missile project. And threw him with a bunch of other German scientists. None of them spoke English.
Oh, that's awesome.
And and to this day, he's now an American citizen, a staunch patriot, and he's like, God damn it. How could they trust a foreigner straight off the boat like me to work on rockets? What did I have to know about rockets?
But he was more in the missile delivery system. Well, it turned into rockets, but it was more missile delivery at the time.
Okay, so Gunther, talk to us about this game.
Yeah, so this game is it's a worker placement, which worker placements have been done to death. But this has really two unique takes on the worker placement game. First of all, it's a team worker placement game.
Gunther, real quick, can you guys see? I'm sharing my screen to show what you're talking about. Can you see that or not?
Now, hold on, I got to put it up. You know, a little bit of heads up, Uwe, would help me a little bit, manaja.
I thought it was all. There you go. I mean, you see the damn picture. Why don't you do it automatically? Damn it, Duce. Come on.
Yes, this is the game setup as Uwe's showing, but it's not a fully cooperative game, and it's also not a competitive game where everybody's playing alone. It's two players playing against two players. So you have that, like a lot of our board games, you have the fun aspect of being on a team and working with somebody, but also competing against somebody. So you have 1 to 2 players playing as the Soviets and 1 to 2 players playing as the Americans, the US. And the other really cool thing about the game compared to other worker placements is that you have each side has 2 different types of workers, engineers and administrators. And when you're placing workers on the map, if you want to bring up the map, the picture of the whole game, move up.
Whoops, wrong game. Sorry.
What is that on your background?
You know, Uwe, don't flash a picture of you in the shower or something.
I had it up, guys. Sorry about this. Hold on.
But one of the cool things is when you place a worker, you either place an engineer or administrator on an action space on Earth. You don't only block the opponent from actions on that space, you're also blocking your ally, because every space has a different effect on whether you place your engineer or your administrator. So while it uses a common worker placement mechanics, it adds some really exciting new things to the genre that have not been done before.
So Gunther, hold on a second. You're actually blocking your ally, so you're shafting your partner.
Yeah, and so this is where you really it's a game where you actually have to work together.
Yeah, because historically, and why we did this, historically, one of the biggest for both the Soviets and the Americans were that you had the administrative, the PR, the human resources going for their portion of the funding and what they thought
the political part of it.
The political part, and then you had the engineering and the development part. And in America, it created a lot of tension, and especially in the Soviet Union. There was no reason why America should have beat the Soviets to the moon. The Soviets should have been in there way earlier, but it was their politics that did it.
Really?
It was so bad because the guy who was in charge of the funding, the money, and all that, then the high command put this other guy in charge of all the engineering. Well, the guy they put in charge of the engineering had been thrown into the Gulag work camps during World War II by his boss. So they just didn't get along from day one, and it all fell apart. And one thing after another, and they didn't make it. It just fell apart.
It was kind of fun, interesting that the U.S. we combined all the different agencies. We took control from the Air Force for the program, and they made NASA to do these moon missions. The Soviets were very capitalist. On the other hand, they were like, okay, we have these 3 different departments. We're going to make you all compete. Mm-hmm. And that is where they were really, instead of working together, they were always at odds of trying to one up each other. And that let America in the end get the lead. Yeah.
Okay. How many players this game?
It is 2 to 4 players.
Can you play it solo?
No, you cannot play it solo currently.
Okay. How long does it play?
About an hour to hour and 45.
That's pretty quick, man.
Yeah, it's just like the moon race. It was a walk in the breeze.
And what's so exciting about it is not only are you placing on the different areas, each area has a benefit you can do. It has, let's say this bottom one here, if I can come in a little tighter, this bottom one here has a lot of PR. Because people with PR get to take first actions between the Soviets and Germany, and I was just Soviets and Germans, Soviets and Americans. And the top one is research, for dollars in research. So if I, as the engineer, need to get this research done, but then the admin says, no, we need to get the PR to get the money going, even internally with your team, there's strife. So if the engineers place on their section of this area, they're blocking the administrator. What's that?
We can't see anything you're doing on your screen.
Oh, you don't see my mouse?
No.
Oh, I'm on the wrong screen. Okay, so on the bottom here is the administrative part where you're getting money and the PR. On the top is a heavy engineering money thing. So if
you're getting development of your rocket systems.
Yes, if the engineer places on here, he blocks the entire area for not only the Soviets for placing on there, but also his allied administrators. So that is the tension, because the administrators are going, no, we need the PR. We got to get the Congress and everybody funding us, and we got to do this and that. And then the engineer says, nah, I'm placing, screw you, I'm going here. This is more important. And then the PR guy's going, dang it, because the PR player is doing the PR stuff. Then on top of that, you are going in, and during the game turn, you are getting, then later on, you're getting historical figures and everything, which then will give you more spaces where you can place your worker units, your worker placement on them to get their benefits of what they added historically. So it's a phenomenal game. And then Gunta added this beautiful screw your neighbor factor where, why don't you tell them about that, Gunta?
Oh, well, first of all, like what you're doing, what the goal of the game is that you're launching missions, starting usually with unmanned missions, launching satellites and such. And then eventually you'll start launching manned missions. And to achieve these, due to 2 different types of missions, you're going to need to develop your different technological systems, your rockets, your life support, your capsule reentry systems, your navigation. And you have to develop these different parts. And you usually know what you need to achieve a mission. However, your opponent can place hazards on your missions which could make them more difficult and cause you to fail them. And that's what Uwe's talking about, the hazards.
Now, what's the difficulty on 1 to 10 this game?
Well, if we're kind of comparing from like between a game like Ticket to Ride compared to like a game like Agricola, I'd say this is right in the middle. It's a midweight Euro.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, Gunther, I don't know how much input you had in this game, in the mechanics of the game, okay?
I'd say 90%.
Okay, so every good artist knows how to steal and make it their own, okay? And there's no shame in that. That's progress. So, what mechanics have you stolen and from who?
Oh, what mechanics did we steal?
Yeah.
I think it's the first cooperative team game where the cooperative people are fighting against each other.
It's the first team worker placement game that I can think of. In terms of what we stole, I guess I think there's a game. I can't think of it. I'm sure there's a game where one thing we do is you can place workers on a card to do a worker action, but then that also drafts the card into your hand.
I keep thinking of Le Havre.
Oh, Le Havre?
No, Le Havre, not Le Havre.
Le Havre?
No,
Yeah,
Le
it's been
Havre.
a few years since I've played that game, so I couldn't tell you what mechanics we stole. You know, I'm just going to say I think they stole all worker placements are derivative works of this game.
Now, and I remember speaking to Uwe, I think it was last year, and I asked him, "Is this a war game?" And he says, "Well, you can take the little miniature and throw it at someone." Is that the extent of the war game?
Yeah, it's a war game.
Yeah, it's definitely not a war game. It's very much a Euro game that adds that team. But it's a versus Euro game. Our side versus one other side.
Okay,
Because just to show you here, you're building up your resources. This is your engine you're building up. These white counters are like your rocket systems, your fuel systems, later on your capsule, your life support development, things like that. These you use once they're gone. Whereas these square, darker ones, those are your permanent resources that when you use them, you flip them over, but the next round you get them back again. So you're trying to build up. You never have enough resources to do everything. So here in this game, they're more concentrated on getting cash and human resources and publicity going, and haven't really developed their lunar landings or their satellite capabilities. So you're building these up because then you're choosing to launch either satellites, and you see 2 satellites, or lunar missions. And you can place...
Or manned missions.
Yes, manned missions. And you can place these either on T-2 or T-1. So if I put on T-2, it gives me more time to develop and make sure the components that I need for this will be available when I launch. And on a launch, then I get certain benefits to help me along in my game engine. So that's the basis of the game.
Uwe, hold on a second. You, as a player, you are doing all that, or you are cooperating with your team?
You're doing
your teammate.
You and your teammate are doing this together.
Now, if your teammate fails, do you fail? Do you lose?
You win and lose together. Like everything, you share resources, you share a hand of cards. The only thing that you do not share is what you do with your workers.
With your resources, yep.
Your workers. You share resources, but what you do with your engineers or what your partner does with his administrators. That's the only thing that's separate between the two of you.
Now, who wins? Does the individual win or does the team win?
The team wins.
The team wins, and as you go to the moon, the game's over, whoever lands on the moon. But that doesn't mean that team wins. It's whoever got the most out of the space program during the game. So the game ends when someone lands on the moon, but it could be that you didn't land on the moon, but you're so much further on your space development and general victory type of prestige.
What you contributed to humanity's progress towards exploration of space.
So landing on the moon is not the winning factor.
It definitely helps because
It
it gives you
definitely
7 bonus victory points, which is
Yeah,
a
it
lot.
gives you 7 victory points here. So it's a biggie help, that's for sure.
Yeah, but if you feel like you're far enough behind, you could go in a different direction to try to make up those points. So, one other really cool thing I want to bring up about the game, Uwe, if you want to zoom in on the Earth board, one cool thing is that when you successfully launch a satellite or a manned mission, that develops your knowledge base. But it also helps your opponent. For example, they didn't know if anything could survive people could survive in space. They thought they could, but they didn't know until they actually sent somebody into orbit. And so when they did that, they actually helped when the U.S. did that, and actually I think it was the Soviets who did it first.
Yeah, the Soviets.
When they did that, it actually gave the Americans the knowledge, oh, we can do that. So let them kind of move on to the next step of expanding their knowledge. And so how we represent that is when you launch a mission, you get to pick up one of these satellite or manned upgrade tokens from one of the action spaces, and you put it in orbit or on the path to the moon. And what that does, it upgrades the space for both sides.
Yeah, there are extra actions and special things that are under this counter that make taking that action so much better. And even though you are opening it up, you're taking the time and energy to do it, your opponents will benefit from it. So now you have to worry about, will me doing this actually help me more or them more?
So the worker action spaces develop through player choice as you play the game. And that creates actually a very deeply strategic game because you're trying to unlock technological paths that benefit your side more than your opponent.
I have a question here.
Yeah.
Is this a better 2-player game or 4-player game?
I like the 4-player because I love the social aspect of it, of dealing with the teammate, but it is also an excellent 2-player game, and it works actually very well with 3 players also.
Yeah.
But I like playing with people, so the more players, the better, in my opinion.
Now
we have some questions going on here. They want to know what happened to your beautiful hair. Maybe turn.
What happened to my hair?
Show it hasn't disappeared.
Yeah, I have it. I'm growing my hair out. I'm growing it very long, and then probably this summer before the convention season, I'm gonna shave the sides.
He's going for Utrecht look from
Uwe.
Yeah.
Whose show is this?
I've been watching all the political debates. If I don't interrupt, something's wrong.
Okay.
And you didn't give me 2 minutes, so I don't give a shit.
Okay, it's a family show. Don't say shit.
Oh.
Say Scheiße.
Ich gibt keine Scheiße. Mir ein
Yeah.
Scheißdreck is anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so hold on a second. So the more players you add, does it add on to the time of the playing?
No, it does not, because you're placing the same number of workers. If you have you have 2 administrators and 2 engineers. If you're playing 1 player on a side, you're going to be placing all 4 of your workers on a turn. And you'll be making choices for all 4. If you're playing in a 2-player team, one of you will place 2 engineers and one of you will place 2 administrators. So it doesn't add the number of actions that are taken between the game. You're just working with a teammate to figure out what you'll be doing with those actions.
Excuse me. Now, I'm sorry. So look, Academy Games, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I know Academy Games, when I first found out, they were a war game company because of Conflicts of Heroes, okay? Because it's such a phenomenal game, easy to play, beautiful counters. And what else can I say, Uwe? You know what I'm saying? Now, you also have freedom, and you guys, Academy Games, when I say you guys, can I say you guys, or is it?
Of course.
Okay, so you guys, you're expanding the Wargamers library, because Academy Games, I want to play Conflict of Heroes, but here comes this game. This game looks interesting. You know what? I think you guys are doing and I'm not making any money off this, saying that you guys are doing a great job. Uwe, you have my address to send a check, by the way. I think you guys are doing a great job. You're opening up the old grognard mentality, if I can say that, and it's interesting. It's look, I just like where you guys are going. Not because Gunther, you're cute, and Uwe, you're rich. I'm just saying it.
If I were a rich man, daga diga diga daga daga diga daga dum.
Okay. Now, are there any? Now, if I'm a bit dafted. Is this game available right now?
Yes.
Are there expansions in progress for this game?
Not right away. We are working on a second game in the series.
Yes.
With the development of Mars.
No, the next game in the series will be about the International Space Station.
Right. We're not making bullshit fantasy stuff in this series. It's a trilogy of what's happening with the International Space Station, then what we're working on with Mars.
Okay, so this game is a standalone game, and it's going to be as is.
Yep.
It's a perfect game already.
Look at you! Look at you! All the answers. Now, what happens if this game really takes off, and I mean really takes off? What are the possibilities of expansions on a game like this?
You know, one thing we can always do is we add more of expand the number of historical figures we talked about in the game. So there's a lot. There was, I mean, countless people who worked on the forefront and behind the scenes. We talked about several of them in the game, but there's only so much content you can cover within a board game. If it was a digital game, it would be a lot easier because we could just include an infinite number of content without having physical components. But
now, Gunther, this game is basically based on history. Obviously, is there anything that can be more modern with this game? Having private companies like Virgin, like that guy from Tesla, what's his face?
Elon Musk.
Yeah. Okay, Uwe, what are you doing?
He's showing some of the characters that we portray in our Hidden Heroes deck.
That girl was the first computer woman there.
Yeah. Yep. She programmed, I believe, this flight path.
Right.
For
and that's part of the historic. Well, we have historic miniatures, but we also have the Hidden Heroes expansion deck already. We have quite a few things that we added that people can still get the bundle with all miniatures and everything instead of counters here, and that's our bundle, which is only available off our website. That's
okay. So it is available right now.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the deluxe edition of the game.
Yeah, that will not hit distribution, and we're gonna have it till we run out.
Okay. And how long has it been out?
It hasn't been out yet. It's coming. It's going to hit the stores in 2 months.
I believe it's for sale on our website already.
Okay, it's for sale on the website. Okay. And if I can be so blunt, how have sales been on this game? The interest
out of this world.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's been very good. We did the Kickstarter with CrowdX. We were around, which is low, but for a game like this where we had no advertising, we did a little over 200,000, and I think we're going to run out of the first print run.
Hold on, Uwe. You printed 200,000?
No, we did $200,000.
Oh, for God's sake! I thought you pulled an Avalon Hill or something.
No, we only printed 94,000 copies of this.
That's wicked.
I'm kidding. I'm lying.
I don't know what to say.
But it's going very well, and we just sent it out to PSI for general distribution, which I think it has a release date of November 24th, and that's going to go really quick because already international demand for the game is out of this world.
Will there be a professional video example of play for this game, Gunther?
I believe we already have a few.
Well, Ben Harsh just got his copy sent with all the information. I love Ben Harsh.
I love Ben Harsh.
Right. And we just talked the other day. We sent him all the files yesterday. We're sending him the game. If any of you have not heard of Ben Harsh, his rules are phenomenal. Support him on Patreon along with Dan here, because all the work they do is so needed.
Ben Harsh is concise. And how can you say? I understand everything he says. I love the guy. I actually had him on a show once. The guy's phenomenal.
Yeah,
he's phenomenal.
So he's going to be doing a teaching thing. He said he'd get it right in, and Ben is phenomenal. Highly, highly recommend.
I would say, yeah, I totally endorse Ben Harsh. Now, okay, what else can we say about this game other than expansions, Euro game? By the way, Gunther, was it your decision? And I'm going to say to go Euro. That's because of my ignorance. Was it your decision to go Euro on this?
Oh yeah. I mean, one thing is we love Euro games. One thing we've always done at Academy Games is when we design war games, we actually use Euro games as our inspiration in our war games. So that's why we also love Euro games, and we want to bring some of what we've learned from war games over to Euro games.
And from Euro games into war games. And vice versa.
Yep.
So you want to go into the next game and show them the next game we're working on?
Let me. I'm gonna turn off my camera real quick. I have to go grab.
This is a surprise to me, people. I didn't even know they had another game. I mean, okay. So do I remove? Do I remove this?
No, you can leave it up. You can leave it up. I'm going to open up the next one here. Come on, Dan. We're professional here. So this is.
It's a Rubik's Cube game.
This is we base it off of. I love the movie Tron and Tron Legacy and everything. So we use that as a basis. And Tron Legacy is trademarked. We have nothing to do with it. We're calling this Reality Shift. It has nothing to do with Tron, but the movie's great, and that's what this gave us inspiration.
Oh, that's what this is, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the logo for Reality Shift.
And as you can tell, these cubes are magnetic, and you're racing on the sides, you're racing on the top and everything. And during your turn, you're going to be not only racing your racer trying to get to the finish line, but you will be also moving and shifting the reality cubes of the racetrack by flipping it to crush your opponents or moving it to give you an advantage, etc., etc.
Who's the designer?
So you can see the cubes are actually magnetic, so the miniatures can be placed on any side.
Who's the designer?
This is Hansen, Matt Hansen.
Matt Hansen was the original designer, and then we work with him. Like with all designers, we really work with him. He's great to work with because, you know, a person comes in with an idea, and then you come in with a group like us, and we just get the synergy going, and just it skyrockets in incredible directions. And
now, you know what, Ufa, all these, I'm gonna say, I don't even want to say gimmick. All these new things you do, the magnetic cubes, this and that ups the cost. That ups the cost of your it ups the cost of the game.
Yes, there's going to be, though, we're really working at, there's going to be a $50 MSRP game.
That's it.
Yeah. And we're really working on it. It's going to be incredible. The Kickstarter is going to be starting in a few weeks. We'll let people know. But with the Kickstarter, you're getting a ton more stuff. You're getting this incredible map on the bottom that's two-sided that allows you even to go from the cubes along the map and then up the next one if there's an opening. You're getting extra. You're getting the white hole cube. You're getting the all these space right here.
Yep.
More cubes and
especially cubes with special rules around them that oriented around them.
And
the difficulty of this game is
the difficulty game is what I'd be say like equal to or even a little simpler than Ticket to Ride.
That's pretty simple.
Yeah, but the pages are 3 pages long, the rules with a lot of pictures. And this is a game I think you can play.
Who?
You.
Me?
Yeah.
Are you calling me stupid?
No, I give that it's like a 1 simplicity rating.
Are you calling me simple?
No, I'm using you as one of the benchmarks of rating how hard a game is. It's an honor.
Are you calling me stupid?
No, did I say that, Gunta? Did
You
I?
implied it.
You said he's smart enough to play Reality Shift.
Yes. Anyway, I'm giving you a shit, Duce. But literally, this is a game. You have 3 cards in your hand. The cards give you different reality shifting abilities on them. They give you different reality shifting abilities plus a color. This means that if you would play this card to shift reality, you could take a red topped cube like this and flip it up and crush this guy above it so that this red face is now against the yellow face, which changes the whole dynamic of the racetrack and is the guy you just wiped out. Since it's like Tron, they're just simulated racers. They have to start over again because we as Germans do not adhere. We do not like anything with violence or anything like that.
No,
Okay.
I think this is a great example where we took a very common theme of a racing game and we turned it into a war game.
Yeah, kind of.
Now, because I'm simple, will there be a video on this so I can learn how to play?
Yes. Yes.
Is it out yet now?
Yeah, it's going to be about a 45-second video to teach you how to play the game.
Well, yeah,
45 seconds?
We're launching a Kickstarter for it probably starting in November.
Yep.
We're waiting for the video to be finished, and once that's ready, we're going to start advertising the Kickstarter.
Because that looks super interesting, and it looks more complicated actually than it actually is, I'm sure.
The rules are easy. It's hard to win because there's a lot of strategy that comes in about because you're not just trying to race along the track. You're actually changing the track to be to your benefit. So trying to figure that out is kind of a cool puzzle aspect of a game to put in a racing game.
This is a 4-player game?
Yep, and the Kickstarter will be adding in the 5th player.
Yeah, 5th player. And I love what they're saying here in the comments. They're saying we should rate all of our games with a Duce factor. So like this would be like a 1 Duce game. A little more difficult would be 2 Duces. It takes 2 Dans to play or a 3 Dan to play. I love it, guys. Great.
That's great.
And just so you know, the cubes are 60 millimeters per face. So the average, here's the finalized cube.
I have it right here too.
Can you make his screen big, Dan?
His screen.
Can you make him in the middle big?
Let's see here. Boom.
Nope.
That's Uva's screen big.
Can you make Gunta's big in the middle? No, that's you. Okay, I know this is a 3 Dan question.
A 3 Dan program.
A 3 Dan. Okay, that's pretty good though. Gunta, you're bigger now.
I'm in the center. I'm the center of the tension.
So
I have to line it up properly.
That's very Borg.
Yeah.
Very Borg.
Gunta, let's know Mazo. Yeah. So in this, you can see there's 60 millimeter faces with each square. There are 9 squares. Each one is 20 millimeters. And the miniatures are a little over 20 millimeters in length, or 25 in length and 25 in height. And like this here has that's a start point on one of the cubes. And it's a really phenomenal, the design and everything is very well done. And this is going to be the first game in a series. The next game is going to be a combat game, a space combat game.
Yeah. You can kind of think of it as Super Smash Brothers, where you can smash people also with the map.
What about dead time? When one player dies?
No, you're virtual. You have to start over.
You rematerialize at a checkpoint.
Okay, so you what do they call it you respawn?
Right.
Sometimes I'll crush myself because I want to rematerialize because the way the map has formed, that the finish line is closer to the start than where I ended up.
Right. Right.
So
and
It's a very unique racing game, which is why we're so excited to add it to the Academy Apollo catalog. Apollo games being all of our non-historical games.
Now, first of all, who approached you with this design?
We actually were at a proto spiel in Cleveland, Gunta and I, and we saw this game, and we were like,
actually, it was Jim who first saw it.
Yeah, Jim Schuch. Jim Schuch is one of our main in-house designers. His office is like above me and 100 yards that way. And he found it, and then he got Gunta over there, and Gunta's looking at it going, holy crap. So that's going to be a phenomenal game, and really looking forward to it.
I mean, it looks incredibly interesting. You guys are really going now. It just dawned on me. What's happening with war games now? Because I see you guys.
Well, let's not finish. Let's go into the really cool news. The biggest online 4X space game in the world is by Paradox Games, the video company, digital company, and it's called Stellaris.
Okay.
And we have the license rights and have been working with the Stellaris people now for a little over a year. And we're doing the finalized design. Gunta's a designer of it. And we're doing the full play testing now online of the board game. It is phenomenal. If you like a 4X space expansion, Gunta, why don't you go through a little of that, what makes it.
Wait, hold on. I want to ask Gunter a question here. Now, Gunter, having the IP to something like that, having the license, okay, how free are you to improvise?
Well, what I've found is if you make a good game, they'll be happy.
Yep.
And you have to do what you need to do to make the game good. And because if the game is good, it'll sell well, and the person you license from will be happy.
The original Grognard says he has over 2,000 hours in that game already.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, the game's addictive. I played Stellaris before we started designing this game, and then I've played, of course, more. And it's hard. I have to stop working sometimes and get back to a normal day because I'll just be playing too much Stellaris.
Now, is Stellaris is an RPG?
It is it's a 4X Empire building game.
So there's no RPG elements in it.
Civilization in space.
And there's no RPG elements in it?
The RPG elements there are on not a character level, but on an empire level.
Okay,
so there's a lot of narrative. That's one thing that makes Stellaris so much fun, is that adds more narrative and storytelling than any other 4X video game I've ever played.
So it's
sci-fi or
is it like a Mass Effect?
Hold on.
No, it's a strategy game. Yeah, it's a strategy war game.
Tell them what's so incredible about the board game that we've pulled through.
Have you I'm sure you're familiar with like Twilight Imperium. And
Yes.
So we're developing a 4X game along in that genre. But I love those 4X board games.
Yes.
But there's two big problems I have with almost all 4X board games. They are way too long. So they're hard to get to the table because you need to basically find 4 to 6 people who are willing to sit all day to play
Twilight
one game.
Struggle, 9 hours.
No, wait, let me finish. They're also my second thing I have a problem with these games is that they're too short. I spend this awesome, epic, fun-filled day developing this species, this civilization, this empire, and then the game ends. And all that love, sweat, and tears I put in this empire is just gone. And I'd love to see what continued to happen with them, but I can't. So what we're doing in the Stellaris board game, we are making it that you can play a species and civilization that you design, and you can play that species across multiple games.
Hey, and tell me the last game what happened, Gunta, with your species and all. What was happening?
Well, like for example, I'll get to that when we talk about narrative.
All right.
But so what that means is that you get to see, you go through eras. You get to see what happens with your empire across several games, which gives you more play time with that empire, but it's also broken up into smaller chunks. So we're actually
have fun, and then next time you play, if you play with other people, you can still pull your empire and everything you did in the previous game into the new game and continue with it.
Okay, but hold on a second. Now, when you do that, a newbie like me coming in wanting to play, is Gunther with level number 75 gonna shellac me?
No. So that's one really cool thing we did is one big thing about the game is it is about really balancing. There's one level that's balancing your economy. So while you might be a bigger, more developed empire than me, you're still having the same strain on resources because you have a lot more upkeep. Your bigger empire has more upkeep. So my smaller empire is still able to compete on an economic level because we produce fewer resources, but we also have less upkeep. There's also the aspect of how you win the game. So in this game, we're having each era. A game is an era, and you will try to achieve a number of victory conditions. And the number of victory conditions you need to achieve is equal to the number of eras you've already played with that civilization. So if you have one player in era 3 and one player civilization in era 1, the 3 era player has to achieve 3 different victory conditions to win that era. The era 1 only has to achieve 1.
Okay, so more responsibilities for the bigger guy.
Yep, and the victory conditions also kind of scale a bit. They get a little harder, and they also promote them to interact in more positive ways with the weaker empires. So if you're a peaceful civilization, you might be able to achieve a victory card by getting another civilization up to a certain technological level.
Yeah, this game is so
that
different.
Is your ethical leaning.
This game is so different because everything you're doing in the game will reflect or will ripple forward and affect everything in the future. And Nathaniel Robinson asking, is an RTS? It's not an RTS, but everybody, there's no downtime because everybody is deciding what they're doing at the same time and then reveal and do it.
Yeah, so we have you have a planning half where you plan your actions on your planning board. So all that time players take to think about how they want to spend the resources, what technologies they're going to research, what ships they're going to build. You don't have to take turns waiting for him to do that. Then I would decide. You're doing that all at the same time.
Okay, so this basically is I don't know what the label is, but it's a solo cooperative game. Solo.
No, it's not cooperative at all.
No. I mean, you're playing to expand your empire,
and you could be
still competing with somebody else, but it's about you.
Well, yeah, but also your relationships with other players. Diplomacy plays a huge role in this game.
Okay.
And so there's
an example of one of your games.
So like one of my games, I was actually playing a empire that had an origin of we had nearly gone extinct because we had made mistakes in our pre-stellar evolution, and so we had a very small population, and our planet was a little bit damaged. And I'm like, okay, great. So I'm going to go very high technologies to make up for that. And we were expanding. But then all of a sudden, my scientists informed me through an event card that happens periodically that I have an asteroid heading towards my planet. What's that, Uwe?
Someone else played that on you, didn't they?
Yeah. So that was not something else somebody played on me. That was an event that happened.
Okay.
And I could have easily had a chance to shoot down that asteroid, but I was too busy fighting space amoebas to expand my empire because they're blocking some very valuable resources. So I let the asteroid hit my planet, but I did not know, because I let the asteroid hit my planet, the event card that was running that event then told me to draw this other card. And that secondary follow-up card told me the asteroid was carrying an alien virus that was affecting my population. And so I didn't just have population perish because this asteroid hit the planet. Then I had this plague running rampant on my empire, and I was having to deal with this plague while I was trying to expand. And that happened because I was getting too greedy and wanting to expand.
And did Jim play a workers discontent card, and all of a sudden you had worker revolting. And
well, that was a different game I was playing. I was playing a very fastly breeding species, and so I had a lot of unemployed workers. And because I had unemployed workers, Jim, we take away all the special rules. You don't have to keep track of when you have a certain level of population. There's a 20% chance you gain a criminal. No, that's run by players. Players get these exopolitics cards that they can play on an enemy empire if they meet certain conditions.
So Jim played a Putin card on Gunta and just was putting disinformation into his planet net, which made the workers unhappy and revolting and pissed
they
off.
caused sabotage that damaged my alloy factory, so I was not able to build as many ships, and that then gave him a position where he was able to invade me with his fleet, and I didn't have enough ships to rebuild.
And
now, it doesn't seem like there's an end to this game. Like you could keep going on and on and on.
That's the beauty of it.
Here's the thing. There is an endpoint for a civilization. You're eventually going to win the campaign. Your species is going to ascend. They're going to leave the game. And they leave the game in one of two ways. Either they eventually will reach one of the end game ascension objectives through the storylines and stuff that happen in the game, or you can just decide, man, I really made a bunch of mistakes with the empire, or this empire I designed that I thought was going to be really cool kind of sucks. Between any two eras, you can decide to abandon the empire you're playing. And that empire becomes a fallen empire. The empires you stop playing stay in the game as a AI-controlled empire.
And affect everybody else still, like in the video game.
And then you get to start a new empire, Era 1. And the empire you abandoned stays in the game as a fallen empire. And if you know in the video game, fallen empires, they're empires, but they are a little bit more limited than a normal player empire. So that's why we're able to keep the AI very simple and quick running, but they can still affect the game in pretty major ways.
Yeah.
Just like in the video game.
This game is like no game ever done before. The people from Paradox are so hyped because this design is in line with the video game. And
your box is a galaxy that you're developing.
Yeah, Marcin asked what the timeline is. The timeline, we were going to begin the Kickstarter end of November, but we decided to push that off until January just so we could get really good videos and everything going. But that's not pushing off the release date because, as I said, we're in heavy play testing right now. So everything's going well. We cannot show pictures because of working with a big studio like that. We have to get everything approved. So due to...
We'll be releasing pictures in the next month, starting to release promotional stuff about the game and some cool videos.
Because we have all the artworks done. It's so cool, but it has to be okayed by the big boys, in the video company. And that's the way it has to be, so it stays online and keeps the essence of their product pure.
So what's the douche complexity on this?
This would be probably a 4 Duce.
Yeah, I'd say a 4 Duce. But one cool thing about this system is it starts out fairly simple. I would say it's at the beginning, it's a little bit simpler than Twilight Imperium. Mm-hmm. But because of the development, it's kind of trickling in new content to the game as you play your empire. So eventually gets a little bit more complicated than TI in terms of what options you have. But because it's trickled into the game, it's not overwhelming, and it just slowly adds new kind of pieces of candy that you keep following this trail of candy. Ooh, piece of candy.
Now, in terms of components, maps, and all that, is this like a monster game?
No, well, let me say, because Gunther's not going to give it, because he's the designer and everything, and it's from me in the outside watching this going on while I'm working on France and the solo expansions and the comm ops with the Marine Corps Association, all that. It's like, oh my God, I want to do this, but I got to stay on what I'm doing. But what's so cool about it is you have your home planet and your solar systems and everything, and you're expanding it, and you're trying to, some races want to find other races and do trade or get to the center of the universe. But each of the tiles is so uniquely made with three-dimensional miniature components that tell you exactly. Go ahead, Gunta.
Well, one thing I'd say, it is a hex game where your systems are hexes. This was one of our prototype cuts, just testing out the system. But yeah, Uva is saying like you're developing planets in the game. That's one thing it adds that a lot of other Forks game is these cool planet tiles that you're actually clipping on. These are our prototype clips. They clip onto the edge of the planet tile to show, and they represent one population unit. And as you're growing your population, you're putting more population clips, and you're deciding how they're employed on your planet.
And these
So
are
you have that
three-dimensional things, depending on what your resources and everything are. Go on, Gunta.
What's that, Uva?
They're going to be, we also have a lot of these are going to be three-dimensional type of clip things on there that you visually see from far away. You see this planet with all industrial type of buildings building up.
They're going to look like buildings growing up. As your population grows, you see the population grows and more buildings start proliferating across the planet. So you can easily tell how populated a planet and how developed a planet is by how many buildings and how crowded the planet's surface is.
And I just said that because the little clips look kind of cheap, and a lot of
these are our prototypes.
Yeah, I know, but a lot of games use those cheap clips. This is going to be three-dimensional, visual. This is going to be a game like no other game out there.
Well, I can show you this. One cool thing is players have a player screen. This is how you develop your species. You have a player screen that this is what you put in front of your play area, so that people
wir haben
what you're planning.
Zeit. Es ist schon beinahe eine Stunde. Wir haben nur noch ein paar Minuten. Darum
Okay. Well, but
verstehen Sie?
I'm sorry.
This is really interesting. This is where you choose your different traits for your species. This is a multi-layered player screen.
Hold it up a little, Gunta.
What's that?
Hold it up a little because Dan, can you make it where he's big in the center so you can see it again?
Here we go.
Oh, that worked. Wow. That worked even better. No, let me stop sharing. There you go, Gunta.
You can design what your traits are by putting them in the screen here.
Okay.
And one thing you can do is you can design any civilization, any species and empire that you can design in the video game, you can design in the board game.
Now hold on.
And vice versa.
Can you
show the other side then, Gunta, because certain parts you see, and then the other side, or aren't you allowed to show that?
No, then okay. You choose what kind of planet you like to colonize, and you choose your species portrait. And then here, you can see, if you're familiar with the video game, you choose what kind of ethics you have. These guys are egalitarian, or they shouldn't be authoritarian.
It says
they're
authoritarian.
Fanatically egalitarian and militaristic.
So you can choose what way you want to go. You could be a war civilization. You could be a peaceful civilization.
Right. Xenophobe, xenophiles, spiritualists, materialists. You get to decide what the psyche of your species is, and that has real repercussions in the gameplay.
What's beautiful about it is, hold it up again, Gunta. So with him being that type of race, you see two symbols on there. Anytime anything happens and you see the different things, on his side, he sees what they do. On your side, you only see the main hexes. So when certain events happen, let's say you go and you wipe out a total different planet, you'll pull that card and that'll give you a symbol. And in the future, if I'm a peace-loving planet and I hit against Gunta, and I see that symbol, immediately that symbol will get my card going, whoa, that dude wiped out another planet. It rippled forward because I just happened to hear about it, and I don't want to do trade with them in the future. So it's just like nothing out there. It's going to be a very storytelling game, but quick hour-and-a-half games.
Yep.
Hour and a half.
Yeah, you're playing an hour and a half, 2 hours. Boom.
Hour and a half to 2 hours, 15 minutes have been
this is like a lifestyle
game we've been running.
Yeah, you're playing, having fun, and then you can play another era, or
you can change any number of eras in a row. And we're able to do that because we allow the simultaneous planning, and then players take turns revealing what they planned. So letting people make all their thinking and processing go at the same time speeds up our game more than twice as fast as other 4X games.
So Dan, you may see Gunta, his plan is underdeveloped, and you think, oh, I'm going to evade him. I'm going to take him over and surprise attack him. Gunta, looking at your eyes going, Dan's working at a Dan 2 level this turn. He might want to attack me. So while you do your movement to fly into your area on your turn, he's building up defense, a space defense modules outside of his planet that he's working on. So by the time you come there, he build all this shit up, and boom, you get blown out of the sky.
You know, I mean, you've given me so much information, and then you tell me that this game is an hour and a half. How does that happen?
And that's because you chain games in a row. You play an hour and a half to 2 hours, 15 minutes. That's one era. You can then keep playing the next era immediately.
Okay.
You can pack everything in the box, and then continue playing your civilization in the next era.
Or
now, are we talking a box?
It's over.
And now we're talking a box the size of Agents of Mayhem?
Yes.
Yeah. It'll be an Agents of Mayhem size box. It'll be priced comparatively to like the TI and Eclipse too.
Man, that's a lot of information.
Yeah, it is a awesome game with a ton of content in it. It's just how it's presented makes it super accessible, and the content is just trickled into that keeps the replayability just out of this world, because every time you play, there'll be new things to discover.
Man,
the tech tree is run by a deck of cards, just like in the video game. And our tech tree is 200 cards. So you have a number, and the cards, as you develop and gain cards to research, it ripples out in so many different ways that each time you play, based off your choices, you can have completely different games based off what technologies you unlock. And that just right there adds a lot of replayability. And then on top of it, when you win the game in a certain way, it adds content to the game that are repercussions for you winning the game in that certain way. And if you lose the game in a certain way, there are things that added in the game that are repercussions for you losing the game in that way. So that when you come back, your choices had implications on your future games.
Yep. We're running out of time. Let me now start going to some war games also. So that's Stellaris coming out. We have some other, we just signed Bruce Glasgow, the guy who did Betrayal House on the Hill. He's been working several years on the next, and that sold like 1.5 million copies. The next game that he's been developing a few years.
The next Cthulhu game.
The Cthulhu game, he wants to work with us. Phenomenal deck building type of Cthulhu. You don't know who the good and the bad guys are. It's one of the most devious counter-stabbing games out there. We're working with him on that. If you want to share the screen, I'm going to show the maps here for our France 1940. This is
the next Conflict of Heroes.
The next Conflict of Heroes, France 1940. The beautiful artwork between the different maps here. Some people were having trouble reading the hexes, so we made the hex images much more visible now, but we still kept the hexes so that if you look from far away, it kind of disappears and you just see the map. So these are with France 1940. On Facebook, if you go to Conflict of Heroes page, the fan page, I posted all the French units, all the UK, United Kingdom units. I can't call them English. I was corrected. Even though I've checked the documents and the Germans called the English Engländer, and if they were Canadians, die Kanadier, or they never called them die Britannier oder was immer. Es war immer die Engländer, die Scheiß Engländer. You have to put the Scheiß in front of it. But I've learned in English you have to call them the British or United Kingdom. So I did apologize and I did change that. But it's going to be the French, German, UK, and then people will pre-order will also get the Belgian and the Dutch units. Then what is very cool about this, and you can see here the normal maps, and I'm going to open up now map number 4. Let me go into map number 4, And what is going to be so unique with this one now, we're making more and more really urban settings. So, for example, if you're going through this very built-up area, the people who've played Conflict of Heroes, you can see a center dot is on a stone building. This means that this is a built-up stone urban hex. What we've changed, though, now, what we're introducing this game now is like in old games in Awakening Bear, where you had woods hex and you had a road running through it. Now we have urban hexes. Look at this is stone building, stone building, stone building hexes, but the panzers can move through them freely. So now we have the heavy city urban maps with infantry getting the +2 defense. They can be hidden in these stone urban areas, but the panzers can easily move through them. But the difference is, if a panzer is in close combat in an urban area, they do not get the close combat bonus. You do not get +4 in close combat if you're a panzer in an urban area.
And why is that? Why is that?
Well, because the panzers were not meant to be in an urban area and were not as effective against infantry that were hidden in units shooting Panzerschrecks or bazookas or doing close combat attacks, because a panzer limited, you have the roads, all these buildings 2-3 stories high, you didn't know where it was coming from. So the panzers needed infantry support.
And if the road was too narrow, they couldn't even turn the turret.
Yeah.
So now we made it very simple, but so exciting, because now a panzer, an infantry gets +4 against the flank of a panzer. They're hidden in these buildings. A panzer moves in, and all of a sudden, the other side attacks with their infantry from the flank +4 and can take out panzers like never before. Now, if the panzer, though, has infantry support with them, they're going in first and getting these things. So
and mopping it up, yeah.
True tactics, but with that simple little rule, boom, in Conflict of Heroes, we've again taken care of this. You know, I'm such an ASL fanatic, but, you know, the 25 pages just take care of panzers in an urban setting, boom, done. So this is going to be very exciting.
Now, Uwe, hold on a second. Now, this is your first foray into the Western Front. Is that right with this?
Yes.
Will you be expanding that?
Yes. The next game that we are ready, and I can show you the maps for that. And I've never showed those. You're going to be the first people here. And I have to find it. Is the Airborne Invasions, 1944, with the 82nd, the 101st, and the British 6th. And we are going to make this. Let me pull up one of these, please. One moment, please. Da muss ich mal eben hier auf mein. I've got to go into my. I was not expecting to show you this, and I'm sorry, guys, if it's going a little long.
That's okay.
Wo ist es denn jetzt? Verdammt! I'm just trying to even find my D drive. We have a NASA network accessible drives that we all work off, and then.
So you don't have a Macintosh?
Are you saying you're not able to bring up your D drive, Uwe?
No, I have it up. I just had to find it because there's so much.
After a certain age, it's hard to bring up your D drive.
Yeah.
Well, here, just to show you here, this is my files with all the different files and hard drives I have, and our NAS drives and everything is built in. Let me go into First Men In here, and let me go into Maps. I'll show you some of those. And let me just open one of these and just Saint Mary Iglesia. Let me open this up here. So this is actual from photos of Saint Mary Iglesia of the city and everything.
Yeah.
And can you see that? It's showing.
Yeah.
And this is also taking into these accounts, these built up areas where the Germans, you couldn't bring a panzer, but there were no real panzers at the time. But what's really exciting about this, what we're doing, this is all like the thing. You have the school, yard, everything from satellite photos with this. Even the clotheslines here in the yard, you can't really see it. The beautiful details
Yeah, I see the clothesline.
that were done with this is just phenomenal. But what is so exciting, what I'm working with this is that you know what? Let me show you La Fière also. These are all, and these are not my finals. These were just JPEGs here that are, we don't have the final outlined things, but here's yep, La Fière here. This is actual from satellite photos showing exactly how it went. Then the next map has the bridge.
Satellites back then, Uwe?
I'm sorry?
They had satellites back then?
Well, German little airplanes taking,
I'm
sorry, aerial photographs. Sorry.
I thought these were from the Google Maps trucks that went from all the way from Moscow to
yes,
to Dunkirk, taking photos
I'm glad
of
you mentioned that, because
Uwe, on D7, D07, that stone building on E06 there.
Yeah.
Is that lavender?
These are lavender bushes and everything, of course.
Is that what it is?
They had beautiful, come on, they're French. They had beautiful
That's
gardens.
ridiculous.
They had beautiful gardens.
I don't know if you remember, like in some of our trees, there are actual apples placed in the trees.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, you just have to look closely.
And here, do you see this shadow right here, Dan?
Yeah.
That is the shadow from the Google truck driving down the road, taking the pictures of it.
Are you serious?
So we cleaned off the Google truck so you didn't see it on the map, but the shadow kind of stayed.
You know what I think we should do, Uwe? We should do like a Where Waldo's thing, where we put Deuce somewhere in the map, just hidden.
Oh yeah, where's Duce? I love it, Gunther.
I appreciate it.
Anyway, just
wow, I didn't expect this tonight. I didn't expect this.
So what's so exciting about this, also what we're doing is, what I'm trying to do with First Men In is, it's not going to just show the normal airborne invasions that most people are used to, but we are really going to concentrate also von Luck, who was the at the time, I think he was lieutenant colonel in charge of the German defenses right outside of Calais and everything. And he was a veteran from Russia, and he was very close with Rommel. And von Luck, he was desperately trying to hold the lines back as the Americans and then later on the British were advancing. And what they were doing with the box defense formations, where it was like a 5 to 7 kilometer defense, where they had men in the front holding. The Allies would break through, they would funnel, and then they would instantly from the back bring in counterattacks, which were very effective against Americans at the beginning. And many war games don't show that. So I'm going to be concentrating on that part for the solo expansion for that. And our solo expansions coming out for this are going to be following what Gunther developed for Agents of Mayhem, where everything you're doing, it's not going to be a book with all these solo missions. No. You're playing, and as you're doing stuff, you're pulling cards that telling you what's happening. So as you're playing, things are happening that you have no imagination of. And then you take a flank objective. It says pull cards 304 through 308. You pull them, you look at them, and they're put together, and they look like an old actual orders coming from high command saying, you've taken this flank. This has allowed the 3rd Battalion to break through, do this. That then sets up your next mission. So what you do ripples forward. What you didn't do ripples back. And what happened in the actual historical battle affects you. So you're
wait. You're saying this is a time travel game?
Well, it kind of. But I like that, Gunther.
You said it ripples back. That's what made me think of it.
As you're playing, you never know. You're just seeing the battle. And as things happen and how you do, you are then pulling the cards of how you do, and you see the map. and how what you're doing is affecting the battle line and what you then decide to do from there. Never been done, I think, in any game. And I'm taking what Gunta did, and we're taking it one step further. And you're playing with the normal solo cards, but these are going to be individual mission campaigns that you're going to buy, and you can play them over and over again, because every time you play it, it totally changes how things happen. And it's not like, and this is what I hate about a lot of these campaign games you play, like, well, I won't say the games, but you play, oh, you won here, go to page 8 and play that one. Oh, you lost, go to page 11, play that. This is rippling forward, and then all of a sudden, you made it to the river, you got the heights, and it says, pull these cards, says, congratulations. Objective made, boom, come to headquarters.
Now, Hitler orders you to retreat.
Or Hitler, if you didn't do something, you're ordered to retreat, you lost, come to headquarters.
To get shot.
And you're playing, and all of a sudden you play these games, and you're in the middle of the game, you think you're doing good, and go, shit, I lost. And it's, because I didn't do this and this 2 games ago. Damn it. So we're trying to make it like you're getting real orders. We're pulling you into like a movie novel script, but you're playing Conflict of Heroes. So we're going some really.
I've always said Conflict of Heroes is better than a movie.
Yes, you don't get hurt when you go to bed.
You guys, first of all, Uwe, remember before we were talking, before the show got on, and I said, Uwe, you sound so stressed out. Man, you guys have so much on. I don't know what to say. I'm at a loss for words. I mean, what are you going to pull out? Another game right now?
We have a lot of games we're not going to talk about yet.
Well, we can want to see another show.
Art for a battle royale game. I can show you that.
Oh, battle royale!
Okay, wait, Uwe, we've been going on for an hour and 15 minutes.
I know.
Okay.
We can do a part 2 to this if you want.
Yeah,
we'll show battle royale next time.
I do want to say one more thing is we just released our two more expansions for Agents of Mayhem. Mm-hmm. If you've not tried that game, that is our war game that's set in the Agents of Mayhem video game universe, and it's an epic multi-level city combat tactical game that is like Conflict of Heroes on steroids.
It's three-dimensional.
Yep.
I should put up the video and
came out last year.
This is great. This was a great time. Look, we're gonna do this again, okay? Because I'm sure you got way more information, way more stuff you wanna show, and it's my pleasure to do this. I didn't think this was gonna be.
This is why we didn't tell you what was gonna happen.
I know, and you know what? Don't ever do that again. Anyway,
so yeah, you guys, the comments going on, Heathwill or Hethwill. How do you say that name? And it's Hethwill, yeah?
Hethwill, yeah.
Hethwill. Von Luck's book is, I'm going by his autobiography he wrote afterwards, and I really like it because from a very non-partisan type of way, he analyzes what went on, but then also he goes through, and I love how he's going through at the time what they saw, what they were thinking. And then he can also, in hindsight, go back and said, this was really what we didn't know, but this is what we thought and saw. That's why I really like Von Luck. It's Von, V-O-N, and then Luck, L-U-C-K. So it's one of my favorite, really, autobiographies of the war that I've read in a while.
Also, Uwe, on a completely different subject, when you and I first met at WBC, you spoke about a man who was a soldier of the Wehrmacht who was in Stalingrad, and he recounted.
Yeah, it was my uncle, Uncle Vanna. Yeah.
Well, okay, I didn't know it was your uncle. But can we do a show on that once?
You know, that'd be interesting because we're working now with the Russians on Stalingrad from the Soviet perspective. And that is coming along incredibly. We've been play testing, and it's very interesting. We want to do it from the Soviet perspective because people have always seen it from the German, and it's really good working from the Soviets. And it was so funny because when we were first talking to him, I go, Victor, you know, this is really good. And he says, yes, I'm so happy. We've been assigned 2 historians to work with us. I'm going, you've been assigned 2 historians? He goes, "Oh, no, no, no. I have 2 friends who are helping me." But it's what they're pulling out of the archives of Hitler had sent they're showing me the documents now, which haven't even been translated to English yet, where he sent a special paratrooper death squad to kill von Paulus. They were all in black. They haloed in. Came in the middle of the night, full black paratroopers, high elite guys, landed right between the Germans and the Soviets. The Germans were on top of it, go, holy shit, what's this coming at us? Started shooting at their own men. The Germans had to pull back into the Russian line, where they were then captured and interrogated and all that. And they have all this stuff. So we're going to be putting a lot of the stuff that have just been opened up in the Russian archives.
Okay, we got to do a show about this. That's insane. It's insane.
So, and we've been play testing this. I just play tested one with them. And what's so interesting from a Soviet viewpoint, it really is, it gives you a totally different feel. And I even have the box cover. Well, I'll do that next time.
Yeah, that next video.
Uva, okay, I really appreciate this. People, thank you very much. This was incredibly interesting. It was impromptu.
Yeah, we decided like at 7 or 6:30 to do this.
And you know what? I always love impromptu stuff, because this is what happens. So again, guys, Gunther, Uva, stick around. I'm gonna shut off the show. Guys from the Peanut Gallery, thank you very much. I'm sorry I didn't put up any more questions, this and that, but Uva stole the show. It's like it's his show. Anyways, okay, so
but Gunther's the one who does all the cool design work, and Stellaris, oh my God. Oh. Da werden wir nicht drüber singen.
People, thank you very much. Guys, stick around, and we'll do this again probably sooner than I think, because I have no idea. So let me do my professional outro, and auf Wiedersehen.
Cheers.
Danke.